Thank God it's Friday. Sure, that's what's on your lips right now this beautiful Friday morning. Sure, you all had a great night. Good morning. This is Jubilee 99.7 FM Lagos. This is your award-winning radio station. Talk, news, and sports. And of course, we'll bring you plenty of entertainment. Your listening pleasure. Welcome to the newspaper review. My name is Pascal Mfonobong. I'm not doing this alone. Not with me in the studio.
Mary Umar, good morning.
Good morning. You look, as usual, radiant. Always radiant. How do you do it?
It's good.
I know. I was actually waiting for that. Right, so let's bring you up to speed to all of the headlines making the rounds this morning. So you can count on us when it comes to keeping you informed. We do this 24/7. On the clock. Look at this in Jubilee 99.7 FM Lagos. Wherever you are, turn up the volume of your radio set. We'll bring you all the headlines, get the rounds, some of the dailies that we will be looking at this morning. If you're ready, you're ready. Well, let's start first with the Daily Trust newspaper. And the banner headline reads, 1 month after federal government intervention, households, SMEs still buy cooking gas above 1,100 naira per kilo. I would want to ask you, you're a woman, I'm sure you use the kitchen a whole lot.
Why would you assume that?
Because you probably have an idea.
Yes, I actually did buy gas. I think last December, and I think I bought it for 900 and something naira.
For a kilogram?
Yes, but if it's 101 naira for 1,100 naira, I'm very sure it's possible.
Okay, this is sad if you ask me. Families, businesses lament. Multinationals should pay attention to domestic supply, not export. Crude oil stability key to gas production and sufficiency. That's coming from experts. So the headline says households and SMEs still buy cooking gas above 1,100 naira per kilogram. All right, let's move on to the top page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Subscribers kick as telcos seek federal government's nod to increase tariffs. Tinubu appoints executive directors for MPA and NIMASA. And missing Trust Radio Tower, Civil Defense fails to refund 6.5 million naira. All right. To the bottom page of the Daily Trust newspaper, you'd find these reports. EFCC widens probe on forex allocations, searches Dangote's office. All right. And health issue behind my inability to honor EFCC's invitation. That's coming from Sadia Umar Farouk. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Girl impregnated by brother dies during abortion in Kano. This should make for an interesting read. Girl impregnated by brother dies during abortion in Kano. Oh my. Okay. Page 12 has this particular report. And CAF raises 2023 AFCON winner prize money to $7 million. Mary, I'm sure you'll be happy with this one.
Yeah, that's a good development.
Morale booster, right?
Yeah, for the players.
So everybody will chuck head inside. Say, this one we must win it. $7 million.
Money is an inspiration, it's motivation, so yeah. Definitely they would want to win.
Okay, that's it. I'll just wish for my own country, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, to win the AFCON. At least for the fourth time. It's been a while. Since 2013. Come on. Super Eagles, do it for us, I beg. Because what's at stake is $7 million. All right. So that's the headlines that has made it, or rather, these are the headlines that has made it to the Daily Trust newspaper, the front page.
All right, moving over to the Daily Sun this morning. The banner headline says, Suspects Education Certificate. Federal government may extend clampdown on Kenya, Uganda's varsity. Don's experts ask government to beam searchlight on local institutions. And that's on page 6 of the Daily Sun. Moving up here, it says, Forex, EFCC raids Dangote, BUA, others. Says exercise continues, and that's on page 25. And we have a picture headline here of former Bayelsa State Governor Seriake Dixon, Governor Larry Fubara, and Dewey. And moving down, we have Plateau killings. Gombe Governor advises against reprisals. We will not neglect border communities, says lawmaker, and that's on page 5. And Bayelsa government sues for peace as Fubara visits. Rivers crisis, AEA withdraws suits challenging Amowule and others. That's on page 26. FDI's Nigeria's financial asset deep by $870 million. And that's on page 2. Why Supreme Court should validate my election, Muftang says it was nullified without basis. That's on page 26. And Sat1, police photographer die in Sokoto deputy governor's convoy road crash. You can find that story on page 4. And on page 27, we have Unwi Furu Umayi, Ayim Onu others bag leadership award in Eboyi. And that's on page 26. And here we have maritime workers threatening to go ground ports on January 9. And that's on page 2 of the Daily Sun. Finally, we have Wike received 50 billion naira for capital project in FCT. And that's on page 28. That's it for the Daily Sun newspaper.
50 billion naira for capital projects in the FCT. That's intriguing there. Okay, let's move on now to the Guardian newspaper, and let's start with the banner headline. And it reads, EFCC probes NSIPA and beneficiaries in alleged Forex allocations abuse. This is a huge probe. The probe on the NSIPA. You'd find this on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. On page 30, you'd find this report, my election nullified without basis. Plateau governor cries out to Supreme Court. Fubara's ally withdraws suits against 25 Rivers lawmakers. At page 3, you'd find this report. Now, how dry season and climate change escalates risks of virulent diseases. All right, turn to page 4 and 5, or pages 4 and 5 for these reports. Naira battles fresh threats, falls below 1,200 naira to $1 at parallel market. You'll find this report on the business page of the Guardian newspaper, page 9. A wake-up call to African leaders. That's on the editorial page, page 12 of the Guardian newspaper. Man predicts a challenging business year, urges federal government to prioritize manufacturing. All right, you heard it there. You'd find this also on the business page of the Guardian newspaper, page 20. Group blames Mossop for underdevelopment in Ogoni. You want to find out why? Turn to page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. Navy decries reports on complicity on oil, or rather in oil theft. Navy decries reports on complicity in oil theft. Page 29 has this report. Create economic management team. And ES tells President Tinubu. You'll find his report on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. So these are the headlines that has made it to the front page of the Guardian newspaper. All you have to do is grab the Guardian newspaper for the details of these and more in it.
All right, over to the Nation's newspaper. The banner headline says 37 billion naira probe. Ex-minister gets EFCC's 72 hours ultimatum. Anti-graft agency rejects 3 weeks extension request by Sadia Umar Farouk. And that story is on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. And on top page, we have FMC plans price crash for IVF birth, and that's on page 4. And NUC lists 58 varsities awarding illegal degrees, and that's on page 6 of the Nation's newspaper. And we have here Tinubu appoints 6 EDs for NPA NIMASA, and that's on page 5. Ehie drops lawsuit against Rivers House member, and that's still on page 5. And federal government extend UTAD fare rebate till Sunday, and that's on page 6. And CBN acts dangles on COVID-19 loan defaulters, and that's on page 4. Uphold my mandate, Plateau governor urges Supreme Court. Appeal court judgment unfair. Apex Court hearing for Tuesday.
That's a major decider there in Plateau State to meet the security challenges there.
So much going on there right now. All right, you can read that story on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. And we have a photo story making the headline. Southwest Amoteku commanders members work for Akere Dolu, and that's on page 26. And at the bottom of the Nation newspaper, police begins recruitment screening. That's on page 27. And on page 7, we have customs meets 5.1 trillion revenue targets. And that's it for the Nation's newspaper this morning.
Let's switch your attention now to the Punch newspaper. And as usual, let's start with the big story or the banner headline. And this one reads, Forex scandal. EFCC combs Dangote headquarters for documents and probes 51 firms. You'd find this report on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. There's a rider to this headline, and it reads how EFCC ordered 52 firms to submit Forex allocation forms from 2014 to 2023. On page 23, you'll find this report, traders protest, asks Lagos State government to approve market. You want to find out why? For more details of these, turn to page 23 for this particular report. Let's take it to the bottom page of the Punch newspaper. Foreign investments in manufacturing sector drops by 54%. That's coming from the National Bureau of Statistics. Page 27 has this report. Plateau attack survivors battle hunger in IDP camp. Well, I thought that the federal government, ordered for humanitarian aid almost immediately. And now, this is the report we're reading. Plateau attack survivors battle hunger in IDP camp. Okay, this isn't good at all. I would call on the government to, look into this real quick. A federal government releases 108 billion naira for road repairs. All right, that's good. Okay, let's move into the top page of the Punch newspaper. Fake degrees, 10,900 Nigerians in Benin. And Togo universities lament. Okay, this is some, revelation. Before now, it was happening without, anyone knowing about it. And now that, the undercover reporter, has opened this up, now there's a huge scare, for Nigerian students who are studying in some of these universities in Benin and Togo. All right, page 21, bank borrow over 19 trillion naira from CBN. Banks borrow over 19 trillion naira from CBN. That's a report you'd find on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. And customs generate 3 trillion naira, 5 trillion naira in 2024. Well done. All right, so these are the headlines that has made it to the front page of the Punch newspaper.
All right, on the Daily Independent newspaper, the banner headline says, bloated directorate worsens aviation sector woes. Experts says agency may not survive with top bureaucracy. And that's on page... okay, I can't see the page here. It's so tiny. All right. We worked behind the scene for peace in Rivers. Diri hints Fubara, and that's on page 29. And EFCC raids Dangote Lagos office over FX deal. That's on page 27. Despite NWC opposition, Ondo, PDP ratifies its chairman's suspension, and that's on page 7. And Need come props killing of Nigerian student by Canadian police. That's on page 7. And Nigeria can attain wheat sufficiency, says Jigawa governor. And that's on page 6. And public office ban. Buhari's ex-minister Talen appeals judgment. And that's still on page 6. And to the side here, we have a northern governor seek federal government state collaboration to better life of citizens, commends Tinubu steps to end Kaduna Plateau crisis. And over to the top, federal government's directive of 50% automatic deduction from IGR on settles ASUP. And union seeks aviation agency removal from TSA, inauguration of board of directors. And over, we have a photo story here of President Tinubu. And and Lagos shut down a third mainland bridge Tuesday, and that's on page 6. And over to the bottom, Uzodimma raises 44-man committee for his inauguration, swearing in. That's on page 6.
Okay.
And that's it for Daily Independent newspaper.
All right, thank you very much. And the final newspaper we'll be looking at this morning is the Vanguard newspaper. Let's start from the top. It says NGX PenCom to dip in PFA's equity participation with pension board, or rather broad index. Okay, let's turn the page. You'd find this report on page 19. On page 8, EFCC, former Minister Farouk cited illness for shunning our invitation. South African Rupert displaces Dangote as Africa's richest person. You'd find this report on page 9. And in Plateau, appeal court unfair to me, Governor Mutfwang tells Supreme Court. And out to the banner headline, it reads, viral video, uproar over imposters exposed in army recruitment exercise. You'd find this report on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Forex pressure worsens as manufactured goods imports rise to 39% to 3.96 trillion naira. Forex pressure worsens as manufactured goods imports rise 39% to 3.96 trillion naira. Page 19 has this report. Real quick, let's go to Kano State. Camp demolitions. Victims lament loss of 30 persons and 260 billion naira properties. You'd find this report on page 8. Mobilization. How undercover reporter breached our system to enroll twice. That's coming from the NYC. You turn to page 9 to read this report. And let's bring you the sports headline. It says 2023 AFCON Super Eagles and 23 others jostle for 8.4 billion naira top prize. Super Eagles, ensure that you bring that one home. All right, so with that, we've come to the end of the newspaper review here on Jubilee 99.7 FM Lagos. I want to say many thanks for listening. I am Pascal Mfonobong.
And I am Mary Umo.
Join me by 9 o'clock, or rather, join me and the crew by 9 a.m. for the Jubilee Mid-Morning Show.